Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, everyone, and I hope everyone is doing fine, great, healthy, safe, and sound. So, this morning I would like to have a presentation uh, about my journal review article under the title "The Connection About Authoritarian Parenting with Imposter Syndrome to the College Students," atau in Indonesia, hubungan authoritarian parenting dengan imposter syndrome pada mahasiswa jurusan. This is the original source, and of course I've mentioned the original journal in the below, and this is my review, so I would like to read and maybe explain about it a little. So the conclusion, let's start with the definition. Imposter syndrome is a sort of disorder in which we live a life with a sense of self-doubt. According to Sandiman, 2019, sufferers of these disorder have the belief that their achievement is the result of luck rather than their skills. This is a psychological phenomenon known as imposter syndrome. Regarding the parenting style that causes emergence of imposter syndromes, the parenting patterns that reverts to this understanding is authoritarian parenting. Authoritarian parenting have high expectation of their children and have very strict rules that they expected to follow unconditionally. According to Baumrind, these parents are status oriented and expect their orders to be obeyed without explanation. So, based on this conclusion, we can see, or we can have maybe a little bit understanding that first, what is imposter syndrome and what is authoritarian parenting. Imposter syndrome, shortly or briefly, is a way of thinking that what we achieve is the result of luckiness or something like that. It's not because of our skill, it's not because of our competency, but it's all about luckiness. We kind of have a low self-esteem, and that's why we have a really high self-doubt about ourselves. And authoritarian parenting is a way of parenting that kind of have give the children's rules to follow and to obey without giving them a chance to ask or to have a small discussion or something like that. And it is really affect the the possibility of imposter syndrome, especially for the college students. My personal opinion about this topic is this phenomenon of imposter syndrome is an issue that is still not widely discussed in Indonesia, and therefore it is important for us to start sharing awareness about this issue with the general public. We cannot avoid the fact that there are very few, especially actually reference that discuss this topic, even though this is a phenomenon experienced by many college students. Apart from the authoritarian parenting style that has a big influence on children's development, I believe that if we have enough reference, we can take preventive actions to at least minimize the impact of this phenomenon on students in campus. That is my personal opinion. And let's have a look a little bit about for this original source that I mentioned. So the writer of this article is Lydia Indira and Martha Ayu, and they both come from psychology faculty of Jayabaya University. And the abstract is kind of interesting, actually, in my opinion. In family background, there are parenting styles that are associated as a factor in the emergence of imposter syndrome, namely authoritarian parenting, where parents have excessive protection for their children and apply rules and have special standards that must be met by children. So notice that the word used here is not have to or maybe need to, it's a must. Oh, wait a second. Must be made. This is an important word, actually, because it emphasizes the meaning of how authoritarian parenting try to control their children by rules, by giving them some obligation reaction or something like that, and they can follow because it is a form of obedience, so that sometimes they feel that what they are living is just a compulsion. uh, During their studies they feel forced, but their academic scores are not disturbed and even tend to be good and high achievers. So there, I think there is a pros and cons about this way of parenting, but in my personal opinion, mm, I think there are more cons than the pros, than the pros. There are more, bad effect than the good effect of this way of parenting, because first of all, we we have a different life with our children, I believe, especially when we are parents, even though I haven't been a parent yet though. But I believe that every children has their own personal life, and we can't do anything to interrupt their this life, their life. So it's better for us, in my opinion, to still to giving them the best support that we can, but not in the way that the children feel forced to do something, or feel forced to obey rules, or obligatory action or something like that. So that we can minimize the impact of this phenomenon on students in campus. So yeah, that is, I think, that's my review journal article for extensive reading. I hope it's easy enough to understand, and I do apologize if I have any mistakes, maybe mispronounced words, or maybe grammatical mistakes when I'm trying to explain this topic to you guys, and I do apologize about all of that and the lies I say. Thank you very much, and see you next time in the next presentation. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.